Hi, welcome to IT Chronicles 10 in Tech from Knowledge 2017. I'm Shane Carlson. I'm here with my co-host, Carlos Casanova.
Hey, Shane.
And today we have Marco La Vecchia with CareWorx. Marco, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Yourself?
Excellent.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about CareWorx?
Sure, absolutely. So CareWorx is an IT service provider that focuses predominantly on the mid-market and enterprise market space. We provide co-managed services to a lot of companies throughout North America. To help them out with really anything that they need that has to do with IT. So anything from ITSM, focusing on ServiceNow, to co-managed services on their service desk, and then we can also help them out with managed services like proactive activity, remote monitoring and management. If an organization is looking to roll out Office 365, we typically kind of support them in the background in terms of what their needs are.
Okay, so all of you guys are in a remote support model, I take it, or
Correct.
do you provide, you don't provide any on the ground resources?
No, typically nowadays with technology, you don't necessarily need the resources. You can do a lot of things remotely through the new solutions and technologies that are out there, and that's typically what we focus on.
So are you targeting any, is it the mid-market that you're targeting right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I would say that our sweet spot from a business standpoint is supporting businesses that are between 500 employees to about 5,000. We tend to see that sweet spot though really anywhere between about 1,000 to about 2,000 employees. But we do have some clients that have 15,000 employees that will handle a number of different things within their business.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. I mean, a lot of the larger managed service providers won't even go in and talk to a client. If they aren't bringing them at least $1 million or so in contract revenue or things like that. So often those smaller businesses tend to be underserved by the market. What do you say is the most important value you bring to those folks who are in those underserved markets?
It really depends in terms of the type of business. Like we're not a business that really kind of focuses on a particular vertical market. Most of our emphasis is really across whether it could be healthcare. Senior care is obviously an important business of ours in terms of the senior care market space that we focus on. But a horizontal kind of focus in terms of what the market is, but every business is different, right? So we'll come across some great companies that, they might have, 1,200 employees, and they just don't necessarily have the best, they may be kind of broken up in terms of all the different tools that they're utilizing, and they're having a hard time kind of bringing them into, all into one instance of a technology that can really kind of help them deliver, the proper services to their employees.
Excellent.
So how do you go about that? You engage with a new client. You've got that scenario where they've got technologies all over. Do you come in from soup to nuts and kind of help them get into a position where you can support them and help them maybe consolidate some of those technologies? How does that play out?
I think it's really trying to understand exactly what are they looking for, right? In terms of what's the scope of work or what's troubling them from a business standpoint, and then we view ourselves as really kind of a niche boutique shop in terms of how we engage with clients, and that's really kind of our forte from a business standpoint. And I think when we go into these organizations and really kind of listen to what's troubling them, what's ailing them from a standpoint, then we can kind of figure out what's the best way in order to work with them, and what are the technologies that they need in order to make their lives a little bit simple. And that's really at the end of the day what we're trying to do, right? Okay. It's really making sure that these businesses can operate and do what they really need to do, and let us kind of worry about the technology behind the scenes.
Yeah. So when you talk about technology, I assume being in kind of a business process or IT process enablement role, you guys are looking at not only the technology that you're helping them with, but you're also looking at some of the processes and process optimization.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you guys doing on that front?
Yeah, so what's really interesting about that is when we take a look, if you take a lot of the organizations, we're at the ServiceNow event, and you take a lot of these organizations that are really trying to build out a phenomenal ServiceNow technology, it can get a little bit complicated for some of these companies, right? And typically a lot of times what we see is, I think it's probably one of the best software technologies in the world, but there's also a lot of people that have to be working within that solution and technology to keep it up to date. And so what we came out with, we actually taken ServiceNow and built it out in a SaaS-based offering. And what this does is it really kind of simplifies the way that people can use ServiceNow and basically turn it on very easily. And most businesses that we kind of take a look at it from an implementation standpoint, 80 to 90% of that technology, they typically want the same thing built into it. And so we've kind of created that already into our platform. And we feel kind of it's a real game changer in the marketplace because it allows organizations to leverage a solution like this. We can turn it on within 2-3 weeks, whereas some organizations, they may have to turn on their instance of ServiceNow within 9 or 12 months and still never, it's not where they need it to be. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do, to streamline those internal processes. And believe it or not, not every company has those internal processes. Yeah. And our platform really allows them to start utilizing all the things that ServiceNow has without, for instance, having to figure out exactly what the business process is internally.
So you mentioned earlier that you don't really focus on any particular area, service management and a few other areas. Is there one that you're seeing really driving harder, the demand for your services?
Yeah, well, I would say that the SaaS-based instance of ServiceNow is really kind of driving the demand in terms of the future of the company and the organization that we're building out. But also, our enterprise service desk is really something that that is helping a lot of organizations out. It's something that businesses continue to struggle with in terms of delivering support to the employees and also their customers. And companies, they just either they can't figure it out or they're just kind of struggling in terms of what they do. So our enterprise level service desk is really what we call from a co-managed services desk in terms of what we do with organizations. It's not about replacing a service desk, but it's about improving their service desk. And we're talking about an onshore instance of an organization that can help companies out and improve how they support their end user customers. And when you tie that in with a good ITSM tool, you're really talking about the the end user in terms of how you're supporting them.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, Marco, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Wish you guys a lot of success.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marco.